di pengalaman.
நம்ம ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுறீங்களா? இல்லனா ஆல் மியூட் பண்ணிடுங்க.
ஓகேங்க சார்.
45 பேருக்கு ஏன்னா ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 30 மினிட்ஸ் ஆகுதே.
ஓகேங்க சார். நான் இப்போ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுறேங்க சார்.
பாருங்க ஏன்னா 300 பேருக்கு 45 தானே வந்திருக்கு.
சார் எல்லாம் ஸ்பாம்ல போயிருக்குன்னு இப்பதான் எல்லாத்தையும் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கேன்.
நீங்க அதை சரியா ஃபாலோ பண்ணணும் அது. ஓகே. சரி அப்ப ஆரம்பிச்சிடுங்க.
ஓகேங்க சார். Very good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Uma, the convener of the CPE program on effective presentation skills. First and foremost, my warm greetings to all of you. Presenting valid information in an effective, clear manner is the key skill for getting your message across. Especially in the 21st century, much more is expected at higher standards and they are demanded at all points. Basically, I should say that the brain behind this particular program and theme is the chairman of this program, our principal, Dr. Ramanathan sir. He was consistently insisting on the importance of effective communication and presentation skills for healthcare professionals because we need to collaborate with them and then we need to share the research findings and then counsel the patients and then discuss on multiple drug regimen. For everything, presentation and communication plays a major role. We all need to master these skills and along with the life skills and clinical skills. With this, I request our principal, Dr. M. Ramanathan sir, to deliver the inauguration and introductory address. Once again, my hearty welcome to all of you. And together we will travel this week and let's gain the confidence and courage on acquiring the presentation and communication skills. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Uma. So dear delegates, and faculty members and participants and the organizing members. It's my pleasure to address on this CPE program on effective presentation skills with respect to poster presentation, written skill, and oral presentations. This is an MGR Medical University accredited program, which is of the category 1 credit points. That means this event has been very much accepted and have its own weightage when we say it has been accredited CPE program. So the necessity for the CPE program for a teacher, see, for example, the technology and the world is fast changing, and like a river, we got to run. It should have a continuous flow. If you struck somewhere with any of these informations or nuisance, then become a great problem. Another thing is, when the current scenario, the students community are much faster than us, especially when you handle it in the tools for education. But when you ask them to talk, when you ask them to interact, that become a tough task for them. They're very good at their mobile phones or at their computers, but when we ask them to present, when we ask them to interact, or when we ask them to write it, and you can imagine the way what they write, what they speak will become like a different language. So that has become more evident after this pandemic. That is one which I want to emphasize. Even when you go to your home, the communications between the people, the parents, the father and to the son or to the daughter, or even among the friends, it become very much less nowadays. Nowadays, the faculty also, after this online classes, they are more dependent upon this ICT tools, and they are not in a, they are almost 2 years, they had a gap. So we thought, why can't we have this as one of the event, as a 5 days program, so that we can recapture what we have, what we left or what we are not followed it, which is very important. If something I want to convey, I need a language, I need a methodology, either by body language, with a non-communication methodology, or through the communication through the words, or by written communication, or even if I find something novel in my research, I have to present it to somebody else. The dissemination of the knowledge is very important. So when I want to disseminate my knowledge, my platform, what I have it in my hand is either the conference or by means of research presentations or by written paper, that is the publications. That is the way how I can share my knowledge, what I learned, so that others can get benefited. And if you see now, many companies also been started in this line, and they are making a lot of money also out of it, because our ignorance, somebody's benefit. And now if you see, we have so many people, and even in our institution, we have a separate group of people are coming there for every year. For 40 hours, there is a program called Effective Communication Skills, including soft skill development. So that is the way we are in the present system we are now. But as a teacher, it is our prime important. So what I learned, I should be able to make it easy for my students to understand. If I did this job correctly, then I'll be accepted as a teacher. And for that, first, when I want to communicate, I should understand the subjects or the topics very clearly. And then I have to reach out to the students and make them to understand. And again, I should make them to reproduce the way which I informed them or discussed with them. That is a success. And still, you remember in a game, no, somebody will start one phrase of sentence, they will say. When it goes to the 15th member or 20th member, when we say what is that, after whispering, when we ask that last gentleman to speak out what is the information, that phrases, it be only 1/4, and that 1/4 is also to be modulated. You can see how it has been, because when I receive information, I should receive it properly. The same way I should convey it to the opponent also. That is also another skill which is very, very important for a teacher. So what you understood, it should be conveyed it properly, and that should reach on the same level of understanding to the students also. That is the success of a teacher. So considering all these points and the present system, we'll have one separate session on this effective communication skills, which is very much needed for a teacher as a even if you want to write a publications, if you want to write a scientific article, review article, or if you want to make a podium presentations, or you want to make a poster presentations, then everywhere we need a communication. So that focusing on these aspects, we thought we'll have a one session, exclusive 5-day session for this on this communication skill aspects. And I really appreciate the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Dr. Uma and his team, and Dr. Shivakumar, Dr. Meida, and Mrs. Saranya, Mrs. Deepa, and Mrs. Anudeepa, or Sangeeta. I really appreciate the way they have made it in a very meticulous way, and we submitted to the university. It got accredited also. I learned that there are around 400 people have registered, but unfortunately we have only 70 on board. Many of them might be in the YouTube. That is also live stream is going on. And out of which 200 are the teachers. So 50% are teachers. That is really happy news that many of us, many of the young community wants to attend this session very properly. And apart from this, we have from different states, right from Jammu to Kerala to Meghalaya, Northeast, everybody who have been registered. And for this, we got 6 national speakers and 2 international speakers. And they'll be talking more about the presentation aspects. Also, the doctors whom we chosen is, they are all expert in this field of communications, especially in the field of teaching and learning process. So these sessions will be really very interesting and will be very good. And also one take-home message is, whatever you learn, whatever you do it, try to implement in your system. Then only you will start learning it of your own. And everybody is having their own way of methodology of presenting it. And that is a uniqueness. So everybody, somebody will say with the story, somebody will say straightforward points, somebody will quote so many examples and then they will relate it. That is your individual talent. So try to cultivate those talents and interact with all the speakers so that it might be very useful for you. And also it will be helpful to us also, so that we can also know what is your requirement or what is your. And considering all these points, the next 5 days, it will be a learning session. I know as a teacher, it might be very difficult for you people to sit longer. To make it easy, we had only two sessions per day. And afternoon also we are having hands-on training, so that you'll have a very funny way of learning, not to sit at a stage for 5 to 6 hours. That might be very tough. So we believe it. We believe in that brain will take a little bit only slowly as we progress. So 2 hours per session per day, so that it might be easy for you to learn it. And also I make it very important point that it is an accredited program. The certificate has its own value, and those who are regularly attending and serious in the sessions and workshop will only get certificates. It does not mean your 400 are there, everybody will get a certificate. It does not mean that it is there, because we want to give certificates only those who are regular and attended all the sessions and submitted the feedback, and also the questionnaires what will be asked at the end of the program. Because it's a CPE program, so we'll be having some questionnaires. At least 10 questions will be asked at the end of the session, at the end of the workshop, so that people have to answer it and submit your feedback. And we'll also take a regular attendance. And those who are attending regularly will get these certificates. So with this few notes, I will once again welcome you all the speakers who have joined now, nationally and internationally, as well as all the delegates and faculty members and students community for this wonderful 5-day session on communication skills, both oral, poster and written methodology, and also to support you on the teaching learning process. So with this, I'll conclude my inaugural address. Teachers, utilize this opportunity because we have taken a lot of efforts to bring in all the speakers together to benefit of our community. Okay. So I wish you all success and a great 5 days program following up in the coming week. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Thank you to the organizers MC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir has given a clear enlightenment about the aim and objective of this entire program. And now we'll move on to the sessions. Just within 2-3 minutes, we are going to go to the session 1, which is going to be presented by Dr. Joy Vincent, who is going to talk about a theme related to this effective communication skills. And we'll be within 2 minutes, we'll connect back to you. Thank you. Hello. Ma'am, I would like to just say a few words about the first speaker. I'm extremely happy to introduce the first speaker of the CPE program. This program, of course, it's on effective communication skills, poster, oral and written, organized by Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, PSG College of Pharmacy. We are indeed very happy to have with us Mrs. Joy Vincent, who is present working as Assistant Professor, Department of English, United College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. She has completed her MPhil degree in English Literature at Bishop Heber College. She was a topper in almost many of the subjects throughout her post-graduation in MA Literature. She has attended and presented many papers in more than 15 national and international conferences. She has ardent skills in projects pertaining to racial discrimination and eco-critical analysis. She engages herself in multiple roles as Joint Secretary, Editor, Coordinator, and Supervisor in various academic activities. We are happy to have you, ma'am, as one of our resource persons. Now, I request Mrs. Joy Vincent to kindly deliver on non-verbal communication techniques. Thank you, ma'am. And you can just over to the session to you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Uma, for the introduction you gave me. I'm honored and elated about the introduction and also about the invitation. Thank you so much. Can we go into the session, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
ma'am, kindly let me know whether my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes. Screen is visible and get to share the screen, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm sharing it, ma'am.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, ma'am.
Slideshow. Yeah, yeah. Now it's perfect, ma'am. You can proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. And today my topic is on non-verbal communication techniques for the medical professionals. And I'm really happy to be with you all. We'll go into the session now. As we all know, pharmacists or medical people, they represent the third largest healthcare professional in the world. And it is said in India, there are around 10 lakh pharmacists working in various positions. And there are around 5 lakh pharmacies in India. In almost every nook, everywhere, you can see pharmacists and medical representatives everywhere. Okay. First, we'll see what are the roles of a pharmacist or a medical professional in healthcare services. As you all know, a medical practitioner or a medical representative, he should have certain qualities, or he has to perform certain roles. The first one is caregiver. Okay, and first of all, before going into the session, I want the students to talk to me. Though it is a non-verbal communication, I want people to respond, only then we can go ahead. Is it okay for you people? Is it okay for you students? Students, are you there? Can you respond to me? Okay. So what do you mean by a caregiver? Caregiver is a person who takes care of that particular person or a patient. He has to take the role of a caregiver. That is, he has to understand what the patient requires or what is the patient suffering from. Then he has to provide the necessary care, necessary comfort and everything to the patient. Then he has to take the role of a leader, where he performs the leader for overall welfare of the patients and the community. That is, he tells you about your potential. He tells you about the side effects. He gives you advices in food, beverages, and he also gives you advices about the medicine, how to take it, how to consume, and what is the time limit, everything. And he has to be like a good communicator. That is, he's the communicator between the doctor and the patient. He's a bridge where the doctor prescribes the medicine to the patients, whereas the pharmacist is the only person who helps the particular person to understand what is this particular medicine for and why he has to take that and everything. And as a medical personality, he has to be a lifelong learner. He has to keep himself updated. And we know very well in the past few years, we know that every that is, even the diseases, they get updated. They say that if, for example, the COVID, they say that it takes a different way. It has taken a different variant. The variant is changing and everything. And according to the change, or according to the changes happening, even the medical professional has to be a lifelong learner. Then he has to be a researcher also, where he has to do a lot of study. Where he has to do a lot of study about medicines, about the disease prevailing and everything. Then he has to be a manager in the sense where he should be able to manage his staff members. Then he should be able to convey what is happening to the doctors. And also he should be able to manage the patients also. And as well as he also takes the role of a teacher, where he teaches the patient how to consume the medicines, or how he has to take care of himself and everything. And at times he is also a decision maker. At times, if a patient comes with a complaint saying that he's allergic to something, or he's got some side effects or something, immediately he should have a presence of mind where he has to immediately give a remedy to the patient. Okay. Then we also see the qualities of a medical representative. I'm sorry. He should be detail oriented. He should know every detail, everything. That is, if at all he's providing a medicine to a particular patient, he should know what is happening. He should know about the patient's history, everything. And he should also have a varied knowledge about the medicines and everything. He should be emotionally stable. At times, people will come to him, people will come to that particular medical representative. They complain saying that this medicine doesn't suit me, or they are not happy with everything. He should be emotionally stable, and he should be able to handle the situation. He should be adaptable for everything. That is like, as we all know, humans are prone to error, and there are various emotions in humans. At times, that too, when we think about, when we take into account the sick people or the people who have chronic disease or something, we know very well that they won't be emotionally stable. They'll be into depression. So you should be able to adapt yourself. You should be able to judge the patient, how he is reacting and everything. And a medical representative, he should be hardworking. As well as I told you in the earlier slide, he should be a quick thinker. He should have a good presence of mind. Then he should have physical endurance. Usually, and we all know, and in the past 2 or 3 years, we really understood what is the role of a medical person. See, you people, actually, we have to say that it's hats off or a big salute to all the medical representatives, because you sacrifice many things so that you save the people around the world. So physical endurance is much important. Sometimes you have to skip your meal. Sometimes you have to stand for a long time. And sometimes you have to work more. You have to waste more energy. Then you should be able to judge people. You should have a ability to judge people. Then the important thing is good communication skills. It doesn't mean that you should have good English or that particular, for example, vernacular language or something. Even without a proper language or something, we'll be able to communicate well. And then empathy. Empathy is participating in the pain of the patient. Okay, you should be able, only when you participate, only when you understand what is happening inside the patient, what is happening. Excuse me. Excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, can I hear?
Can you please ask the others to mute the mic, ma'am? Okay, thank you, ma'am. So you should be able to participate in the pain of the patient. Then you should have a positive attitude. Even when you go to a doctor, or when you go to a patient, when you meet a patient or a doctor, you should be in a positive attitude. You should be able to impress them. Then you should be diligent. Diligent is, you should be very careful in what you speak, in what are the body language you use there and everything. Okay. So my topic is non-verbal communication. So as we all know, that is communication. We have two categories: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication is nothing but it is the use of words to share information with other people. That is, you use words to communicate. It can therefore include both spoken and written communication. That is called verbal. When you utter something through your mouth, when you write something, that is verbal. Whereas when you do something with your actions or through symbols or something like that, that is called non-verbal communication. So here what I'm going to do is, I'm going to play a video. And I want the people on the other side to respond whether the video is clear or you're able to hear. And I want every student, at least 4 to 5 students, to respond what is happening or what have you inferred from the video. Okay. Can you see the video? Is my screen being shared?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is a video we all know about Mr. Bean, and this is one of the evergreen cartoon where we enjoy. But here I want everybody to info what you understand, and whatever you understand, you're going to tell me now. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Hope everybody have watched the video. Have you understood what is said there? Can anybody respond to me? Are you all there? So no, when you see there are no words uttered. Maybe we can see some written language there, but many things have been conveyed there. I want any one of the student or anybody to respond what happened there. You can talk because it is something, it's a communication session and you can talk now. Anybody? Did you all
Hello,
understood?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in that video, he's just using actions instead of communicating.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. So what have you, what is the what have you understood there? Any information? And we know very well that actions are said instead of words. You understood something from the action. So what have you understood? Any simple information? What is the video about? Or what is the setting of the video? Where is it happening?
In a hospital, in a clinic.
Yeah, very good, in a clinic. Why are the people waiting outside?
They're waiting to see the doctor.
Meet the doctor. Okay, and what is that particular person? Maybe Mr. Bean, what is he up to? I'm sorry for asking so many questions, but for a communication, you have to talk, and it should be two-way communication only, then I can proceed. Hope you all enjoy the video, right? Did you all enjoy the video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. So what was Mr. Bean doing there? Can anybody respond? The main purpose of Mr. Bean was he has to meet the doctor very soon because he has got his token number. Maybe his token number was 56 and only the person who's entering there was only 23 or 24, and he has to meet the doctor as soon as possible. And for that reason, he makes some mischievous things so that he can go meet the doctor early. Even though nothing is communicated, no word is uttered except only for the person who calls out the numbers, we were able to understand many things. You were unable to understand that Mr. Bean is too mischievous. And did you infer anything from the appearance of Mr. Bean? What is he suffering from? What was Mr. Bean's ailment? Are you all there? What was Mr. Bean's ailment?
Actually, his hand got stuck inside a vessel and just he want to.
Yeah, he wants to remove it.
Remove it.
Okay. What did you understand from Mr. Bean and the person who was sitting next to him? A person from head to top, he was completely, he had band-aid. And what was the communication going on between them? Some non-verbal communication.
Yeah.
What is it? Can anybody respond?
I think he was just making fun of.
Yeah, he was making
person.
fun of the other person who was full of bandage. He was like, you were not able to move your hands, whereas I'm able to move the hands and everything. Okay, so see, even without uttering any words or even without written communication, you can understand something. So that is how the world goes. That is like even an illiterate person, even if there is no written communication, the people in front of us or the people around us will understand what's happening. So in such scenario, this non-verbal communication, it plays a very great role. It takes the major impact. That is, though we say he speaks very good English, she's able to speak very fast, she's able to speak clearly, fluently, everything. But apart from those, your appearance, the way you use your body language, that matters a lot. That too, for a professional, non-verbal communication plays a major role, and that too for a medical practitioner, it takes an extra mile, or it takes an extra step ahead, so that as soon as because you know very well, on the other hand, that is the patient will be suffering from pain or some ailment, but as soon as as soon as the person sees you, the patient sees the medical representative or the medical personality, it should give him a warmth effect, or it should give him a positive approach. Okay, so we'll go into the topic now. Okay, so non-verbal communication is the communication without words, process of communication through sending and receiving wordless messages. Even a simple movement matters a lot. You know very well now, in various countries, people greet each other in different types, right? For example, in India, we say namaste or vanakkam, whereas in Western countries, when you want to greet somebody, who shake hands, or sometimes when you're too close, when you meet your close friend or your blood relation, what you do, you hug them. So these are the different actions you perform for every for greeting, for each and everything. You have some actions. So here, verbal and non-verbal communication are interconnected, and they operate together in communication. So they go hand in hand. You cannot just like that all the time. You cannot be non-verbally communicating. You have that is both verbal communication and non-verbal communication should go hand in hand. Only then the other person will be able to understand what you're conveying. What is the purpose of your communication? What is the information you're conveying? Okay. So the difference between them is that that we use our voice in verbal communication, and we use body signs in non-verbal communication. At times, even when we talk nowadays, what we do, we say hi, and we also perform a non-verbal communication where we raise our hands like this. So both should go hand in hand. So what is the importance of non-verbal communication? See, you may think that I'm able to communicate well. I'm very good in my language. I'm very fluent. I can talk loudly. I'll have what to say. Many people will really talk well with intonation, high intonation, low intonation, everything. But even then, apart from all those, you should have some non-verbal communication also to impress others. Okay, see here, verbal and non-verbal communication plays an important role in how people interact with one another. People are using 35% of verbal, whereas 65% non-verbal communication in daily life. So see, when we segregate verbal and non-verbal communication, only 35 is verbal, whereas the major part goes to the non-verbal communication in our life. So, and here, as I said earlier, non-verbal communication has also cultural meaning. That is what, for example, I said greeting here in India is entirely different, where in Western countries it's entirely different, whereas in Eastern countries, that is China, Japan, it is entirely different. So here it is said, see, the most important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. So this is said by Peter Drucker. See, he says that the most important thing is in communication is to hear what isn't being said. That means what is not said. So for example, when you ask a patient or when you ask somebody, how are you, maybe outwardly only to impress you, or only for the sake of answering, they may say you, I'm fine, I'm good. But at times, we will very clearly understand from their eyes or from their body movements that they are not well. Even for us also as students, sometimes when our parents question us, or when our parents ask us, how have you finished your exam? Or have you, in classrooms also, when the teacher asks, have you finished your homework or anything? We know very well inside that we haven't finished, but still then we say, yes, we've completed. But a real teacher or a real professional or anybody, they can easily infer from our eyes or our body movements whether we have completed or not. That is what is said there. The most important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. So as a professional, as a medical representative or medical personality, you have a greater role where when people say, sometimes when people, they do something else and they encounter something else and they suffer from a particular disease, but still then they will not be able to reveal what has happened. They will not be ready to reveal what have they encountered or what have they done. See, for example, we come across many examples where there may be fights between husband and wife. The husband beats the wife very badly, but still then the wife comes to the hospital with a scar or with a wound, and she says that I fell down. But as soon as she says that he or she fell down, what you understand, when you see the scar or the wound, you'll understand that something has happened, and you also know very well it has happened just because by falling down, or has somebody has beaten her. So that is what is given here. The most important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. That is, you have to walk an extra mile about what has happened, not through the words which has been uttered from the mouth, but through their body language or through their eye contact, everything. Okay, so this non-verbal communication is something, the most powerful form of communication. That is what I said. Maybe a girl can come and say that, yeah, she would have been hurt by somebody, maybe, but she will come and say that she has fallen down or she has been hit by something. But her body language, her movements, everything, those body languages are too powerful. They will convey a different message to us. See here, more than voice or even words, non-verbal communication helps to create your image in others' mind. Even you can express your emotions and feelings in front of others, which you're unable to express in words. Sometimes if you encounter a loss, or you were expecting something, but something has happened, you won't be able to express in words, but right from your face, the way you cry or the way you express, the way you react to things, we will understand what is happening to you. Okay, so we have the various forms of non-verbal communication. As a professional, what are the things you have to carry, or you have to have as a professional, apart from verbal communication? See, communication is something very important. Only then you can communicate, you can give information and take information. So here, this non-verbal communication, there are various forms which you have to acquire, which you have to imbibe. The first one is natural smile. Then you have to be soft and respectful. Eye contact, facial expressions, posture, haptics, it is otherwise touch, gestures, and personal space. So always, though we have so much of emotions going into us, maybe our family issues or some physical ailment in us also, but even then, always it is good to have a natural smile. When you look at others, when you look somebody new or anybody, you have to have carry a natural smile. That is something very important. And for this particular form, you no need any explanation. You know what is natural smile. As soon as you meet a person, as soon as you see a person in front of you, immediately give a smile. The next one is be respectful. That is, I'm sorry. When you treat someone well for their qualities or character traits, but respect can also be manifestation of dignity towards people, whoever it may be. However it may be, what you have to do is you have to be soft. You shouldn't be what to say, too much of jarring or too much. You shouldn't be too loud. You should be soft. You should be able to respect the environment, and you should be able to respect the person in front of you. But respect can also be manifestation of dignity towards people. Respect should be the norm in workplace, regardless of personal feelings. Even maybe your boss or the person whom you're talking to, maybe your close friend, but there is a certain kind of professional ethics to be followed when you are going for a professional maybe you're going for some workplace things. Okay, is my slide moving? Okay. The next one is eye contact, and this is the key characteristics of the non-verbal communication, and it expresses much without using a single word. This eye contact is something very important. It plays a very major role in everybody, for a mother and a daughter, for friends, people who are in relationship, for a doctor, patient, teacher, student, everywhere. Eye contact matters a lot. Even without uttering a single word, you can understand what happens to the other person. See, accordingly, maintaining eye contact shows respect and engaged interest. Even now, we know as students or as students, what we do at times, if we don't like any class or if we are not interested to watch anything, we don't look there. We will be scrolling our mobile phones or something else. So eye contact, when you talk to somebody, when you look into their eyes, it indicates that you're interested. Okay, eye contact also establishes the nature of a relationship. Then facial expressions. This one is also something nowadays you use WhatsApp, you use the media for everything. Instead of communicating through words, nowadays you send emojis to your friends or to everybody. If somebody says that tomorrow is a working day or tomorrow you have to do something, immediately you give a emoji, or you give send a emotion expression to the other person. So see, facial expressions are the key characteristics of non-verbal communication. Your facial expression can communicate happiness, sadness, anger, or fear. All these we know very well, but still as a professional, these are the things we have to take care for non-verbal communications. Then posture. Posture is how you carry yourself, how you present yourself in front of others, especially when you work professionally, when you go on a professional visit or something. It is entirely different that you have to carry yourself in a proper way. Always see, when if at all, if a person is not well or if he is not interested, his posture will be entirely different. If a person is not well, most of the time he'll have drooping shoulders. Drooping is you'll bend your shoulders like that. You're not interested, you're not ready to listen, like that. See here, how you walk, sit, stand, or hold your head only indicates your current mood, but not only indicates your current mood, but also your personality in general. When you sit straight, when you sit erect, when you sit like that, see here, there's one person who sits like he crossed his leg and he sits there, where we can see there that he is very confident. That is the third person, not the second one. Second person, he reveals that he is very cool, but whereas a professional, see the third one, he sits very professionally there. See, for example, if you cross your arms while standing, you indicate that you may be closed off and defensive. Yeah, this one, as medical people, you know that psychology plays a great role, and all these body language, they have some psychological indication. Like if you're not, if you're very nervous, you will be fidgeting with your fingers. Like all these have some meanings. Okay. Meanwhile, walking with your head down and avoiding eye contact with others may indicate shyness. If you're not interested, if you want to avoid somebody, you put your head down and walk. Then haptic communication. Haptic is nothing but touch. See, your touch and haptics is the characteristics of nonverbal communication and used when we come into physical contact with other people. For example, we use handshakes to gain trust and introduce ourselves. See, if we are very close, we greet people by hugging. Sometimes if you're friends, you put your hands on the shoulders of your friend and you shake hands. All these are haptic communication. Then gesture. This is something, see, this is also very important. See here, it communicates particular message. For example, on the right hand side, to my right, we see thumbs up, thumbs down, come here, okay. Even when you're not able to utter all these through words, you just give an action and that will do everything. That will finish the whole scenario. See here, thumbs up means if something has been performed, and when you show a thumbs up symbol, that means, yeah, everything went on well, you liked it. See, when your fingers crossed means you're waiting for a reply. You don't know where you are waiting for a positive reply. You don't know what is going to happen. See, and quiet. If you put your fingers on the lip, it means quiet. Handshake. And if you want something, even when you even when you don't know, or even when you are in a different country where you're fortunately or unfortunately you land up in a different country where there are no people to help you, what you do the first few days in order to survive, in order to have your bread and water, you point there, you show some action so that to survive. So gestures play a very important role. that is what here it is said, that there are some gestures which we have to understand. See, gestures are made with different parts of the body that may be voluntary and involuntary. That is what I said. See, if you're in a different countries, fortunately or unfortunately, maybe you're in a country where you're not able to communicate through your language, through the languages which you know. You have to but survive. There is nobody. You have money, you have a house to stay, everything, but in order to survive you have to do something. So at times you perform some actions. You may go to the shop and you may point out something, and that pointing out is something which happens involuntarily. That is, you don't do it purposefully, but in order to in order to quench your thirst or in order to satisfy your hunger, you point out to the bread or you point out to a biscuit there, so that the shopkeeper gives you. See here, some of the common gestures that are used to communicate, or the clenched fist can indicate anger or frustration. When you hold your fingers like this, when you're irritated, when you keep it very close, it means it's anger or you're frustrated. Okay, what do you mean by frustrated? You're tensed. You have expected something, that something would have happened. Okay, then thumbs up or down indicates approval and disapproval. This we all know. The V sign indicates peace and victory in United Kingdom and Australia. But if you have shown it in a different way, it also take a different meaning. Sitting with folded arms can indicate non-welcoming gesture. That is, when you sit like this, it is like it is not it is non-welcoming. That is, you're not ready to accept the other person. You're not ready for a conversation. A shrug may indicate that the person doesn't understand what you're saying. Usually nowadays, we see many people, they say, I don't know. You shrug your shoulders. That means I'm not clear, or I'm not ready, or I'm not, I don't know. Okay, raised brow indicates submissive greeting. Sometimes it is submissive greeting. Other time it is also doubtful. When you're doubtful, when you're not clear, and when you want to know what is happening also, you also raise your eyebrows. Relaxed hand indicates confidence and self-assurance. Okay. And this personal space, this is also much important for a professional. See, if you are, for example, if you're meeting your friend in an informal situation, that is no problem. You can go sit next to him, or you can go and sit next to her. You can put your hands on her. You can hold hands. That isn't a problem. But as a professional, you have to maintain a particular personal space. See, this invisible boundary becomes apparently only when someone bumps or tries to enter your bubble. That is only if you give some, when you give some authority, or when you give some space, only then the other person can come inside. And that space can be taken by a close friend or your family people. See, that is what, if you want to maintain intimate distance is 6 to 18, personal distance is 1.5. Personal distance is 1.5 to 4 feet. Social distance, and after this COVID has come, after we encountered COVID, everywhere it is said that we have to maintain social distancing. And this COVID has taught us what distance, how distance matters a lot to us, and how distance has saved, social distancing have saved many people. And public distance. See, public distance is usually maintained in public speaking events. That is, if you are a guest, or if you're addressing more than 20 or 25 people, you're put in a different place. So that, see here, or giving a presentation in front of colleagues. It is important to keep in mind that the level of personal distance between individuals varies from culture to culture. For instance, people from Latin countries tend to feel more comfortable standing closer as they interact with other people, while people from North America prefer personal distance. That is what, when you are in a public meeting, and if you are the guest, or if you are the particular person to address, you stand really far away. That is 12 to 25 feet. But if you are a professional that you have to convey some information as a medical professional, it is good to maintain social distance, that is 4 feet. Okay. This is what is given here. I think you can see the picture here. See, personal space refers to the appropriate space between two individuals that they are both comfortable with. So for example, intimate it is 6 to 18 inches, personal distance is 1.5 to 4, whereas social is 4 to 12 feet, public is 12 to 25 feet. Then even other things, they matter a lot. That is the language of the head and neck involves language of the head and neck. You know very well, in some country, even now among us also, we at times, in order to say yes, we say sometimes we nod our head like this. And there are some people who say yes like this also. See here, it is important to take into account the positioning of the head in order to understand the body language effectively. Body language with the head and neck should not cause strain, and it has to be natural. It shouldn't be like purposeful. See, nobody can instruct you saying, if you want us, you have to do this only. There are various type of answering to a person. Yes. Okay. Some of the language of the head and neck are nodding the head is considered to be a sign of yes. Nodding is up and down. Okay. A single nod indicates acknowledging a person in a respectful manner. A single nod when you're inviting somebody. See, we've seen this when we go to meet a doctor. The doctor sits in his place, and from there he gives a single nod. That means he's asking us to come inside. Okay, acknowledging, that is, yeah, please come in. Lowering the head in conjunction with eyes indicates a sign of submission. That is, when you say like this, that is when you lower head and you give an expression through your eyes, it is like you submit them. That is, you accept something. Then raising the head from a lowered posture may indicate an increased interest in what someone is saying. And if you want to listen to somebody, see, everybody may be of your same height or something, but you may be, but if somebody is saying something interesting, you raise your head and you look at them. That means you are interested to know more. A tilting of head to the side indicate an expression of interest. And sometimes tilting like this also, it shows expression of interest. Then we also have the language of the arms and the legs. See here, crossed arms indicate defensiveness. That is, crossed arms are sitting like this. That is, you fold your arms and you sit. It indicates defensiveness. Defensiveness means you want to feel secured. That is why you do that. Crossing legs may indicate dislike or discomfort. If you're uncomfortable in that particular place, you may cross your legs. Okay. See here, some of the languages of the arms and legs that people convey or crossed arms can indicate that the person feels defensive. That is, he feels secured, protective, or closed off. He's able to manage that. Standing with hands on the hips indicates that the person is ready and in control, or can also be in a sign of aggressiveness. This particular sign, it takes both the positive note as well as the negative note. Positive note is he's ready, that is, he's able to accept something, whereas C can also be the sign of aggressiveness. He's about to burst out, or he's about to say something. Then clasping hands behind the back indicates that you're feeling bored, anxious, or angry. That is, you put your hands back. Tapping fingers or fidgeting indicate bored, impatient, and frustrated. See, sometimes we usually see students when you're not interested in the class, or when you're not when you're nervous, what do? Usually people do, they tap the desk or do something. See, as I'm an IELTS trainer, and at times when we go for this exams, when we interview people for the exams, for the speaking exam, the student, the particular candidate will come inside. But still, what happens, he'll be, though he has dressed well, his appearance will look good, but still then he sits there in his allotted seat, and after that he'll be holding hands like this, or he'll be doing his hips like this, or he'll be fidgeting with the fingers. And all these reveal that the particular person is very nervous. He's not confident. He's not comfortable with the situation. And you know very well that in this IELTS exam, or when a personality test is going on, your body language plays a very important role. You shouldn't be standing there stamping your feet or fidgeting with your fingers, or putting your pen in the lips, or doing something like that. All those will indicate that you're not comfortable, you're nervous, and that at times all those indications will put you down, that will not take you forward. Maybe that will reduce your marks and that will put you into a very embarrassing situation. Then we have mouth movements and expressions. See here, these are very important aspects in reading body languages. When an individual chews the bottom lip, it can indicate that the individual is experiencing anxiety or worried. If a person is chewing or he's biting the bottom lip, he's into anxiety. Smiling may be one of the greatest body languages and can be interpreted in several ways. Yeah, smiling, it has got many, a natural smile is always something which has a positive note, but a false smile, something sarcastic or ironic. What do you mean by irony, ironic or sarcastic? Can anybody answer what is ironical smile? Or sarcastic? When you challenge somebody, you give a sarcastic smile. That is like, we'll see what is happening. We'll see what I'm going to do. We'll see what I'll do for you, or how I'll revenge you. All those things are called sarcastic. Ironical is something where deep inside you may be suffering from some pain or something, but if somebody asks you, how are you? You simply say that I'm fine with a smile. And that particular smile will very well reveal that your smile is very fake and you have different thing inside. That is ironical. Then mouth movements and expressions here, covering the mouth to be polite or hide an emotional reaction. Sometimes you cover your mouth, and nowadays we use masks so that whatever happens there or whatever reaction you give, we teachers or we people, we don't understand what's happening because you cover your mouth through the mask. Then smiling may be genuine or false happiness or sarcasm, as I told earlier. Pursed lips indicates distaste, disapproval, and distaste. Pursed means closed. You never very tight. Your lips are very tight. You never try to open it. Lip biting indicates feeling anxious or stressed. Mouth slightly turned up indicates feeling happy or optimistic. Optimistic is otherwise, it is positive, something positive. You hope for something good. Mouth slightly turned down can indicate sadness or disapproval. If it is down, it reveals that you don't like it or something bad is happening to you. For example, can you see the screen? See here, it is given here. Covering, see for the 6th and 7th, you can see mouth up is feeling happy and optimistic, whereas mouth down it indicates disapproval. You're not happy about the happening. Then the most thing is the language of the eyes. See here, eye gazing, pupils dilated and blinking. Eye gazing is tracking the movement of one's eyes can reveal the information you need. That is, eyes gazing is you look straight into eyes gazing is otherwise staring at the opposite people. You can easily get the information. Can reveal the information. What is he up to? What is he suffering from? Or what is he expecting from you? You can easily infer from that. Then pupils dilating. Pupils, you know what is a pupil? Our pupils dilate when we are not interested in a conversation. If you're not interested, if you're forced to come to a conversation, if you're forced to meet somebody and you feel uncomfortable, your pupils will dilate. And blinking more than an average is a sign of physical attraction. If you blink too much, there is a certain limit to blink, but if you're blinking too much, it means that you're attracting the other person. See, as I told earlier, humans almost produce 70,000 different signs. The face is capable of 250,000 expression. The face is the most important thing. And there are 5,000 distinct hand gestures. We know very well, if we need something, we show a hand like this. And there are different, the same expression, the same action can give another meaning in a different country. They are cataloged 1,000 different postures and they are accompanying gestures. Human perceive 82% of the information by the eyes. See here, the body language, steepling the hands, it is confidence. Raising the hands, that is you wanted to ask something or you're interrupting. Shifting body position also means that you're not comfortable, you want to interrupt, that is you want to get up or you move somewhere, then crossing the arms, shutting out the other person, that is you're not ready to. These are some other body languages. Leaning toward the speaker, that is you come forward to have more information. Raising the hands and then letting them fall implies hopelessness. At times we raise our hands and we are not very clear or we are not sure, we put it down. Frequent throat clearing, when somebody is talking, when somebody is addressing and we are like we are not comfortable, at times what we do, all these are involuntary things, we clear our throat, and this is disagreement. Again, see, again the body language here. Biting nails, it means nervous and insecure. Usually we see all these nowadays with students. And drumming fingers. Drumming fingers is you tap the desk, that is drumming fingers. Restlessness or impatience. Rubbing both hands, you rub like this is you're anticipated or impatient. That is, anticipation is you don't know what is happening. You'll be expecting the meeting should over very soon or something like that. You'll be expecting the interview to finish earlier or your viva voce to finish earlier. Then resting the cheek on the hand. It is like this, thinking or evaluating. Folded arms across the chest. When you fold your arms, at times, see it is given here, it is disagreement. Okay, now it is a task for you people. What do you infer? What is the meaning of infer? It means what do you understand? And anybody from this picture, you can say what have you understood. This is a non-verbal communicating picture, but I want you to verbally communicate. Can you tell me what is this? What have you understood? Are you all there? Students? Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, is anything happen? Can you understand what is going on? It's not a problem that you have to exactly say what I'm thinking. Each one will have their own opinion. So what's happening here? At least just tell me the scenario there or something like that. Whatever you understood, you can say. The
Person is very ill and everyone.
Yeah, everyone has come there to see him. Okay,
see
fine.
him, yeah.
Yeah. And why are their noses very long? You can give your own interpretation, Ma. It's not a problem. What's your name?
They keep on suggesting some things.
Yeah, tell me, Ma. What is that?
They keep on suggesting something.
Yeah, very good. They keep on suggesting something. What's your name?
I'm Dr. P. Dinesh Kumar.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. P. Dinesh Kumar. Anything else? Anybody else? Each one will have a different opinion. Come on, tell me. So they give many suggestions. And what about the child there? What is the little one doing there?
He's just watching what others are doing.
Okay, fine. Do you remember any proverb when you see this picture? Anybody? Everybody is, see, there's one visible information given there.
Is it poking their nose and all?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Something
That
like
is, yeah, they try to interfere into, the patient is suffering from something else. The doctor, only the doctor knows what the patient is undergoing. But everybody, they give their own suggestion. They poke their nose into the patient's problem. And only the child there, the little one doesn't know how to react, or he doesn't have any suggestions. And a child is always innocent. That is, so she's very quiet there. We'll go to the next picture. Yeah. Okay. What do you understand here? I at least need 5 interpretations here now. See, non-verbal communication is something very important. And nowadays, through a simple picture, a small drawing, people convey various messages. So what is happening here? Is my picture clear, visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is your name, ma? You were answering from the beginning. What's your name?
Krishna, ma'am. Krishna Bobinath.
Okay, thank you. What do you understand here?
Actually, we can relate to this a workload that is given by the boss to the manager, from the manager to the his workers.
Okay. Yeah, very good. It's a very good interpretation. Any other interpretation? Any others?
Suppression by top priorities.
Okay, that is, yeah, fine, fine. Anything else? Okay, usually what does a foot mean?
It's a one-way traffic.
Yeah, it's a one-way traffic. Very
It's a
good.
one-way traffic, madam.
Yeah, yeah, I understand, sir. It's one.
நீங்க பிஎஸ்சி ஸ்காலர் ஏதாவது பிஎஸ்சி ஒரு 10 மந்த்லி ரிப்போர்ட் எழுதிட்டு தெரிவிங்க நான் அதுக்காக அட்டெண்ட் பண்றேன்.
Okay, what does a shoe mean actually? What is the message conveyed from a shoe or a feet?
You are under
Or
my
foot.
control.
Yeah, authority. And what do you see? The shoes on the back of a person. What does it mean? Usually when you kill an insect or when you want to kill something which you are comfortable with, what do? You stamp with your legs. That is you don't want that particular insect to live. You want to put an end to that particular insect. Okay, that is each interpretation varies, and thank you so much for this for all these interpretations. And now we see in your medical terms elements of non-verbal communication. This is first one is kinesics, proxemics, physical environment, and distractions. And you all know this. Kinesics is like your body language, how you carry yourself and everything. The next one is, this is the components of kinesics. That is varied eye contact, that is consistent but not stare. You shouldn't stare so that the other person is frightened of you and they are running away. You should have a consistent eye contact, but you should not stare them. Then a relaxed posture. See, if somebody is meeting you on the way and they wanted to talk to you something, but you are in a hurry, what do? You don't stand straight to them. You'll be halfway turning so that you can move immediately. That is not the right position. Then appropriate comfortable gestures, frontal appearance. That is what you have to place your body so that the other person can meet you properly or see you properly. See, shoulders square to the other person, that is equal to the other person. Slight lean toward the other person, that is you can move forward a little bit. Erect body position, that is straight. You shouldn't droop your shoulders especially. And this proxemics is something like where you have to manage your private space, that is personal space. And in medical field, there are some sensitive issues which cannot be explained where everybody are there. For such things, you have to take an extra care. For example, for sensitive issues such as explaining the use of rectal or vaginal medication, you may need to enter the patient's private zone, especially if other is found. So you have to indicate, you have to give an indication that you're going to talk something privately or something like that. There is physical environment. See, a number of environmental factors play important roles in communicating non-verbal messages to patient. For example, the colors used in pharmacy decor, the lighting, the uses of space, everything. That is, everything matters a lot. Physical environment, apart from your own body language, the environment plays a greater role. The general appearance within the pharmacy setting should convey non-verbal. That is, as soon as they enter nowadays they have so much of messages to be conveyed through all pictures and everything. Then dirt, clutter, and general untidiness carry negative non-verbal messages. As soon as they see dirt or clutter, or if the if the particular place is not tidy, it will give a negative impact on the patient. professional staff should be very appropriately, should be to send non-verbal messages to patients. That is, you should be in a proper way to communicate non-verbally. Then there are some factors which distract the non-verbal communication. Lack of eye contact, that is, limits your ability to assess whether the patient understands the information or limits your ability to receive feedback from the patient. That is, if you don't have a proper eye contact, it will be a barrier for the patient and you to understand about the medicine. Then many pharmacists unconsciously do not look at the patients while talking. Yeah, it happens. Like they'll be seriously noting down the prescription, or they'll be seriously noting, taking care of the medicine, something. They don't look into the eyes of the patient. Then facial expression, feeling of disinterest, lack of concern toward the patient, and behavior. That is, you're not interested. You want them to move immediately. Body position, most patient will judge your willingness to talk to them depend on perception or on your body position, like closed, unfolded arms. It happens everywhere. Like if a person wants to clear a doubt or something, and if you're not in a position where you can readily accept that person will never come and clarify the doubt to you. That is, if he wants to know something about the medicine which you've given, but you are in a different position where it is not acceptable, they will never come walk forward to you to clear the doubts. Then tone of voice, monotone voice may convey a lack of interest on your part. An inappropriate tone of the voice may create an entirely different meaning from one intended. So though voice is something which deals with the verbal communication, it also plays a greater role where you have to raise and lower down your voice. If something has to be noted by the patient, if something has to be noted, like it should be, that is, you say that this medicine is something very important, you have to see to that the person understands through your voice. You have to give some pressure there, or you have to give a force so that the other person understands what's happening. As I said earlier, some sensitive issues are also there. So you have to watch your patients. That is, even before giving an information to them, you should be aware of what's happening. So watch your patients, watch their behavior to get a clue about your feeling. How are they? Are they in a positive attitude? Are they completely distressed? It is your responsibility to look after what is happening to them. Then discuss sensitive issues with clarity and avoid potentially frightening scenario. That is what you have to predict what is happening, and you have to clearly say it to them and avoid potentially frightening. You shouldn't immediately, you should go in such a way that even if you're discussing something, some negative things also, it shouldn't immediately trigger the patient. Then be aware of the potential for non-adherence. That is, many patients with their sensitive issues do not follow their medical regimens as directed. That is, many patients, they do not cooperate with you. That is, you would have given them different instructions, but they would follow a different thing. Then check medication refill rates and observe patient behavior when they are describing how they take their medication. You also give them as a professional, you give the patient some time so that they can come out and say, they feel free to talk to you about their happenings. How have they taken the medicine? How the medicine has reacted to them? Is it allergic, or it had some side effects, or did he feel some uncomfortable feeling or something? He has to wait for the other person to respond to you. If you suspect non-adherence to medication, ask open-ended questions to assess patients' attitude and feelings. That is what you should pave way. You should encourage them to talk. You have to just like that ask, what happened when you took this medicine, or how did you feel after having this? And maybe the other part, they will continue and they'll finish it. And as the same thing is being repeated, but there are some things to enhance your non-verbal communication. That is self-disclosure. What do you mean by self-disclosure? These are some qualities which you have to adhere or imbibe as a medical professional. What is self-disclosure? Any guess? It is nothing but you're introducing yourself. You have to introduce yourself in such a way so that the person in the future can come and talk to you. It is not like you shouldn't be in a very rude way. Then integrity. What is integrity? Anybody? integrity, genuinity. That is being honest, being truthful. You shouldn't, you know very well what is happening to the patient. You know how long it will take for the patient to be cured, or is it going to be a chronic, that is, will it be for a long time? You have to be truthful. Then warmth. Warmth is you should be friendly. As I told earlier, empathy is something you participate in the pain, you understand, you go into their shoes and you understand what is happening to them, and you should be able to accept. If there are some patients who come to you and they say that I'm not able to manage this, I'm not able to take this particular medicine, or I'm not able to take this particular exercise or something, you should be able to accept, and then you respond, and as well as you should respect them. They'll come with a number of complaints and everything, but still them you should have a receptive heart to accept them. So you have to respect them. And the most of all is listening. Listening plays a greater role. See, even now, when we, in this fast moving world, people everywhere, right from a kid to the old age people, there are people who are expecting somebody to listen. They want somebody to shed out their feeling. So as a professional, listening plays a very, very, very important role in their life. And only when you listen, you'll be able to give something, a solid or a 100% remedy to the patient. Okay, see, what is now? I'm going to give you a task. Okay, I'm sorry for giving so many tasks, but I want you people to understand and tell me the difference. What is the difference between listening and hearing? Can anybody tell me? Come on, please be. Let us have a verbal communication here. What is listening and what is hearing? You give me the definition for both.
Can I, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, listening is hearing something and taking up the contents to your mind.
Yeah.
Hearing is simply just hearing. That's all. Not
hearing
taking
is
up anything
something.
to your mind.
Yeah, hearing is something for the sake, you're forced to hear, you're forced to listen, but you hear. That thing happens mostly in the classroom. Whereas listening is something where it is a process where you listen to the information and you react to it. See, for example, when you go to an airport or a railway station, you wait there, you listen to the instruction. If the announcer says that this particular train arrives in this particular platform, you wait for the information, you give some, that is, you listen carefully, you need some concentration. As soon as the announcer says the train arrives in platform number 4, immediately you react, and you at times you go to the particular platform so that you can board the train. And sometimes they say that the train is delayed for 15 minutes or 20 minutes for an hour or something like that. You immediately, you feel relaxed and you sit in the same place, or you find a new place to sit. Okay, this is the difference between listening and hearing. So I want the students to answer. How many of you listen in the class and how many of you hear in the class? This is an open-ended answer. You can answer yourself. It's not for me to answer. Okay, it is not necessary for me to ask each and everybody how many of you listen and answer. See, listening is something, it is one of the major and foremost skills to learn a language. See, here I've given LSRW. That is, in order to learn a language, LSRW is important. L stands for listening, S stands for speaking, R stands for reading, and W stands for writing. See, listening is the first part. As soon as a baby is born, maybe 3 or 4 months after that, the first thing, it responds. Response is otherwise called listens. It listens when the mother calls, or when the father calls, or when somebody calls the child. As soon as his or her name is uttered, or his nickname is uttered, immediately it listens, it turns. That is the first process. After a few days or after a few months, it starts speaking, uttering words. Okay, maybe it can utter like mother, father, or some small words. Then it starts continuously speaking into sentences and that thing. And as soon as she enters the school, she reads. That is all the rhymes and everything. And when you are 5 years or 4 plus and 5, you start writing. This is how a language is learned. Okay. Yeah. Here I say, here listening and observing or something, those are the 2 major skills you have to follow. See, for here, I'll give you an example. See, when you watch a match, I think everybody watch cricket or everybody watch some sports activity or something. See, what happens is when you watch a match, your eyes work faster than your brain. See, even when your TV is muted, you know very well where even before the commentator says the ball goes to 4, what happens? You know the ball is moving to the 4 boundary. You'll understand the ball is going to the 4. The batsman has hit a 4. But when you are listening, you are in a different room or you're listening through a radio or something, you'll be listening so carefully that until the announcer says that, the commentator says that the ball goes to 4 or it's a wicket, it's a bowled or something, until then you will not know what's happening. So you'll be listening very carefully, you will have more concentration, and immediately when the commentator says that the ball is going to the 4 boundary, your brain immediately will visualize a ground, a white rope, and a ball running towards the 4 boundary. And there are some people who also immediately visualize a stadium with people and everything. So listening, it's only because of listening the whole other activities in our body get regulated. So it is better you listen to many things. Okay, see here there are 2 skills. These 2 skills are used to gather the subjective and objective data for the assessment: listening and observing. Only when you listen and observe things, you'll have a statistic data of what is happening. See, active listening, the process of hearing spoken words and noting non-verbal behavior. Listening is also noting down spoken words, and also you listen to the behavior of the particular person in front of you. See, listening, it takes energy and concentration, sometimes called effective communication. When you listen and observe, it is called effective communication. It is purposeful and goal-oriented. That is what I said. When you listen to something, you immediately react. When you listen, when you are in the railway station, you listen to a particular announcer so that you can board train immediately. See, it is purposeful and goal-oriented, creating a beneficial outcome for the client. So, goals of therapeutic communication. That is, if you want to, if you want to communicate so that the communication is useful, see, you have to obtain or provide information, to develop trust, to explore. You always listen so that you can give a proper information. You cannot just like that, maybe the patient may convey, the patient have conveyed only half of the message, and immediately you cannot come to a judgment saying that, okay, the patient is suffering from this particular ailment, so you cannot just like that give a medicine. You have to completely understand what he is undergone and everything. Only then you can give them a proper information or a proper remedy. Then you have to develop a trust. Only when you listen to the other person, you develop a trust, saying, when I talk to that particular person, when I go and talk to that person, he's able to understand and he can give me a remedy. And you can also explore, only when you listen to something, you can explore what's happening around. So the same thing here, listening plays a very important role. See, attention and reliability. Listening is something you have to be very attentive, and that attentive will show that you are a reliable person. Okay, then observation. It is a continuous process, and your body posture matters a lot in observing things. You just like that cannot close your eyes and observe. You have to respond to the words uttered by the patient. Then assessment, open communication and communicating person. You assess, you ask questions, you respond to them, you nod your head, you show your hands like you can answer more, like that. Okay. Then language, fluency, avoid abbreviations. Abbreviation is something, don't use short terms. And there are few things, though it is all it's verbal communication, there are few things you can manage. You cannot just like that force and say, you can say, could you send me the report? Instead of saying, send me the report, to be in a polite way, you can say, could you send me the report? Leave me alone. Instead of, if you're frustrated, you just like that shout, leave me alone. But you can here say, could you give me a minute? Tell me when you're available. See the other side, let me know when you're available. You are wrong. I think you might be mistaken. All the things which are in green are something where you can use it in a very polite way. That's a bad idea. Even though you're in a meeting, and if you don't like what they say, you can say it in such a way that I'm not so sure that's a good idea. Then your work isn't good. You cannot just like that abruptly say that. You can say, I'm not quite satisfied. I'm not satisfied with your work. I need some improvement. You can improve better. I don't like the colors in this design. I'm not too fond of the colors. That is personally, you say that I'm not happy with the colors. Just like that, don't abruptly say things. You can be polite. Okay. And all these are, that is what, see here, being friendly and polite, even in times of personal and professional stress, can go a long way toward establishing an atmosphere that invites cooperation. That is, you have to be very friendly, being a likable person. That is, all these things we've seen earlier. And I think we have very, almost time is over. So here, I'm sorry. A strong patient-pharmacist relationship has a pharmacist and the patient working together and can lead to a better patient satisfaction and compliance with a treatment plan. That is what a proper relationship will lead to 100% solution and a successful treatment. That is what. So as we've seen earlier, non-verbal communication plays a greater role than a verbal communication. And I hope that my presentation would have satisfied your things.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And
Okay.
if there are any queries, anybody can ask, or you can please send through the chat box. Actually, Joy, ma'am, being your
Yes,
birthday,
ma'am.
you've done the best today. And with birthday wishes, I am just saying that the theme of the presentation has been perfectly dealt with.
Thank
it's
you, ma'am.
effective communication skills, and you have done in such an effective manner. And really, being not in the healthcare team, you just known everything of what has to go to the patient, how exactly we have to show our facial language, body language, and in a non-verbal way. And I've learned a lot of things, and definitely all the participants would have learned everything. And thank you so much. And I'll get back to you through
Yes,
the
ma'am.
telephonic conversation.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm proud and honored being with you in your team. Thank you so much. And in future things also, we will continue to proceed this. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions?
So I can actually tell the audience to just send anything through chat box, and we will forward it to you. We'll send to their mail ID, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am, sure.
The next speaker is also ready.
Yeah, I'm sorry for taking.
No, it's okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear students. Thank you, dear doctors and everybody. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.
We have come to the second session of the day one CP program on effective communication skills, poster, oral and written. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. S. Vidyalakshmi, who is at present working as Associate Professor in the Department of Pathology, PSG IMSR, Coimbatore. She has completed her MBBS from MMC Madurai and MD in pathology from MMC Chennai in 2005. Madam has done her postdoctoral fellowship in oncopathology at Regional Cancer Center, Trivandrum. She is the life member of the Indian Association of Pathologists and Microbiologists and an active member of Coimbatore Oncology Society. She has about 15 research publications in national and international journals. She is a resource person in many training programs and guides various student research activities. She has been the co-investigator in PSG Prime projects. We are indeed happy to have you with us, ma'am. I request you to share your expertise in dynamic oral presentation skills. Over to you, ma'am. Vidya, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very much, Vidya.
Let me share the screen. Good morning. So today I'm here to present dynamic oral presentation skills. So all the way you must have listened about what are types of presentation.
Screen should be shared. The
One. Can you see the screen?
no, it's not visible.
Ma'am, go with the share screen, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, ma'am, it's visible, ma'am.
Yeah, screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Just check if the slide transition is also visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you for this opportunity. So today I'm here to tell you how to effectively do an oral presentation. Can you see the next slide? Dr. Uma? Uma, madam?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
Yeah. So now, basically, what is a presentation? Can anyone of you tell how? Any volunteer there? Can you tell me what is a presentation? Okay. So a presentation actually conveys information from a speaker to audience. So it is believed that the speaker is necessarily an expert in the topic he or she has been called for. Okay. So now we'll see how to exactly effectively deliver an oral presentation. So presentations usually require a lot of preparation, organization, planning, writing, etc. And the use of visual aids, dealing with stress and answering questions. Now, how to tackle all this and effectively a set of students or a set of fun? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Now, what is an oral presentation? So, oral presentation involves speaking in front of a class or a group. Are you here? Can you hear? Can someone respond, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you are visible and audible.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll see what all you have to do for making a presentation very effective, right? So now, why are we doing an oral presentation? That is to present your work with evidence organized in a logical order. So maybe you're sharing your knowledge in terms of subject, or you're going to address a public speaking, or you're going to just teach a set of students on maybe life skills or whatever. So first is stay within a set time. For example, you just go and ask them how long the presentation is going to be, the venue of presentation, and the audience. Okay. So basically, the first step of any presentation is planning. Now, you're going to talk on some, say, 10 days, August 10th. Now, when will you start preparing for the presentation? So ideally, if you know the timing earlier, it is ideal to start preparing for the presentation at least 2 weeks prior. That always doesn't happen. Most of the time, we get very short time to present. So now, how to organize your planning towards a presentation? So now, first, what you do is, what are you going to talk? Say, for example, you're going to talk about, say, cardiac drugs, right? You being pharmacy students, you may be required to teach a group of students regarding a group of cardiac drugs. So now, whom are you going to speak to? So find out how big the audience is. What is the strength of the class? Or if you're going to address a particular PG students, then what your level of knowledge should be, right? So always you know who is the audience and how many are there. For example, for a group of 10 students, you have to prepare a different type of presentation, whereas for a group of 500 students in a single class, the presentation should be slightly different. Make notes on your subject, but never put long sentences in the PowerPoint. Okay. And please don't talk word by word. So you have to just stimulate their learning and not vomit whatever you have memorized, right? The aim of a presentation is just to keep the audience in par with your speech. And then next is you should stimulate them to go and read more. So you will not teach them everything. You should just guide them what to read. That is what you're going to do. Then you can use small pieces of paper. That is nowadays most of us present only in PowerPoint, which small piece of paper will often cause a lot of clutter there. So better you write your notes in the PowerPoint notes site. So time your talk and practice it. For example, if a presentation is for 1 hour, how many minutes will you allot for your talk? The presentation, you're going to give a presentation from 8 to 9 onwards. Okay. But now you cannot talk word by word. You prepare only for 40 minutes. And as far as possible, try to stop the class in 30 minutes because human brain has a tendency to listen to things only for 20 minutes. You can get attention span of, this is it's much less in your teenage students. So you prepare a class only for 20 to 25 minutes. And as far as possible, don't hold them back after 40 minutes, right? Now you time your talk and practice it. So you're planning only for 40 minutes and practice once or twice whether you can complete it well within that time. Again, you practice. So practice makes a man perfect. So keep on practicing till the final day arises. So basically, there are 3 aspects of presentation. One is introduction, then the body and conclusion. Now, what is introduction? So you're going to tell the students what is important. Why are we going to learn this? Okay, basically, tell the people what you're going to say during the presentation. So, this is called as set induction, which means once you start your presentation, you tell, for example, a story. So and so when there, he bought this drug. So you're going to tell them why that listening to the presentation is important. Then you tell the main story. Okay, for example, you're going to talk about drugs that are used to control diarrhea. So first, you basically explain the problem of diarrhea to them. Then you talk about the drugs, and again you tell what they have said. So it is like inducing, main content, and then reinduction, right? Reinforce every time so that at least they develop a interest towards what you're saying. Now, 5 tips for developing effective content for your presentation is, first, as I told you, know your audience. For a group of school students, you prepare a different type of presentation. For college students, you have different type. And after that, many of you are going to become experts in your field, where you will be presenting the presentation to the colleagues. So that time, the level of knowledge should be much more than that, right? So tell your friends what to expect from your presentation. You're going to tell them, like, for the next 40 minutes, we will be doing this, and this. And as far as possible, now convey your excitement. So you are very dull about your presentation. Today, we are going to teach about antidiarrheal drugs. So that should not be. So you should induce a lot of convey your excitement to the audience also. Next, to tell your story that is context frame. And keep it simple. Okay. Keep it simple is a key word for any effective presentation. You need not use complicated sentences. So many people don't write it. As far as possible. Now, time management, how do you manage the time? What you're going to do is, first 5 minutes, you do set. Can you remain silent, please?
இந்த மாதிரி தான் நல்லா இருக்கு சார். ஆனா இந்த மாதிரி அவங்க பண்ணல. இவங்க பண்ணது வந்து இப்படி இருக்கு.
Excuse me. So now there are 6 do's. So now what are props? So props used for
minutes of the stop meeting.
Yeah, can I continue? Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No, props are, can you silence others, please?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Fine. Now there are so many props. Props means the materials we use to project our presentation. For example, it may be a PowerPoint. These days, most of us use PowerPoints for presentation. Some may use charts, some may use posters, and others are props. For example, you're going for a field work and you want to show them what all you have done. So for that, in that case, you use some photographs, posters, etc. Right? That is called as props. So in this presentation, we'll be mainly seeing about PowerPoints. because that is the main prop used these days to even for a classroom lecture or even for a bigger conference presentations. So the first thing consists of a set induction. So you have to induce the problem and you have to create an interest in your talk. Now, how do you do that? So first you show a small video, but the video should be really short. Say, for example, maximum 3 to 4 minutes. You tell them why this presentation is important by showing a video. So you should not present any other which is not connected. You should not use any irrelevant videos. For example, you are going to talk about, say, for example, some national program on tuberculosis. So now you show a person just like this thing, what are all the effects of tuberculosis in the society? But that shouldn't be a lengthy video which will impair with your presentation. A small 3 to 4 minutes video, and that is called as set induction. But never use more videos, more props, because props are a double-edged sword. And sometimes they may create an interest, but sometimes they will spoil the interest when it is overused. Now, there are 6 do's and don'ts of the PowerPoint slides. Less is more. So as far as possible, prepare very less. You should cover all the points, but only you are creating an interest to read further. So you need not force what all you have learned and prepared on the students. Okay, just create an interest and leave the rest to them to go and read. Now, always deal in sections. For example, you're going to deal a problem in tuberculosis. Don't keep on telling tuberculosis is a disease, tuberculosis treated like that. You divide it into many sections. What is tuberculosis? What are the effects? How are you going to treat? So you create sections, and then that will make the life simpler. Make it readable. The PowerPoint presentation should be always readable in the sense that the font size should be at least 28 and above, and avoid clutter. So you should not use many font sizes, many colors. So all this will cause a lot of visual impact to the eye and spoil the interest in presentations. And as far as possible, use pictures, because many of them are not having the interest or time to read whatever you've written. And always be sure of your spellings, because spelling mistakes, although we can read if the first and the last letters are correct, we can always read a word, but still spelling mistakes will spoil the image of the presenter, and it will the students or the audience may regard them as less worthy for this presentation. Now, some useful tips. First and foremost, tell the audience not to take notes, because notes are taken just to avoid sleeping, and they go on writing notes without even understanding what is there. And always, nobody is going to have the time to come back and read the note. Even if they are taking notes, let them take 1 or 2 words and not write whatever you have written in the PowerPoint. Now, keeping an eye contact with the audience and moving around the stage is very, very important. And in a class of 250, as far as possible, we have to maintain eye contact with each and every one of them. Now, how do you do that? You don't just stand in this stage and just talk to the people. As far as possible, walk around the stage. If possible, walk till the end of the gallery, so that everyone has some eye contact with you. Now, engage the audience during your talk. Because this is an online talk, I'm not able to engage you people actively. But as far as possible, you ask the audience for some questions. For example, you put in a word and ask how many of them are agreeing or how many of them are disagreeing. In that way, the audience will have more interest towards listening to you. Now, slow down, speak slower than usual, but not very, very slow and not monotonous. Add pauses for emphasis. What do you mean by pause? So pause is the one to stress, is a stop. For example, you're going to say, man without a woman is incomplete. Now, how do you place pause in the sentence? Man, comma, without a woman is incomplete, right? Which means you're emphasizing the meaning by giving an appropriate pause. So if you pause in different words, the meaning itself may change. So beware of your pauses and don't go on talking something. As far as possible, you speak slower than your usual speed. Now, this is very important. A monitor with your slides in front of you. So many a time in our classrooms, the screen will be behind you. So it's better to have a small screen, say a laptop or even a mobile device in front of you, so that you do not turn around to look each PowerPoint. As far as possible, the talk should be spontaneous and not just reading through the PowerPoints. Now, be visual, break into different colors, and ask them, the viewer can just fit in like pieces of jigsaw. But this should not be over, because use of multicolors always causes much strain to the eye. Now, what according to you is better? A black board with white letters or a white board with black letters? So, when the content is so many, for example, if you have 6 to 7, can you be silent, please? So, a white board with a lot of black is usually easier to read than black with white letters. It's not enough if you put so many words into a PowerPoint. As far as possible, you have to use at least 2 or 3 sentences in a PowerPoint. In that case, a black background with white letters stands out so that they can read the text better. Now, variations and surprises. So you're going on talking about something. It's better that you suddenly vary the pitch. For example, either you increase your voice or you change the tone of your voice so that people who are sleeping will suddenly start listening to your presentation. So do you allow people to sleep during your PPTs? Can you allow or not? So it is up to you to catch their attention, listen to remain live. Okay. How do you do that? So you engage the audience for everything, ask as many questions as possible, and walk around. And usually stay focused. For example, if you're going to talk about antituberculous drugs, do not jump from the drug is also used there. These are the effects. So you should stay focused. Maximum you're going to teach in a class maybe 2 or 3 things at the maximum, right? So stay focused throughout the presentation. Don't use hard to read fonts or garish backgrounds. For example, you cannot use a fluorescent green color background, and you cannot use fonts like this. So as far as possible, you can use fonts like Calibri, Times New Roman, Arial, etc. for PowerPoints. And for headings, necessarily use a bolder font than the content. Now, it's always better to test your presentation on other people beforehand and get their inputs regarding feedback about your presentation, how to improve it, etc. Now, how do you choose your people? So as far as usually it will be your colleagues. So if you're faculty, you can ask a fellow faculty, or if you're students, you can ask your friends for a rehearsal presentation. Okay, and always make changes whatever they have suggested. Now, finally, you have to create a presentation summary. Now, what did you learn from this presentation? That is called as a take-home message, right? What all you have learned in this presentation, what are you going to remember? So this summarizing the presentation is as important as the presentation itself, and you can allow people to take notes. At least this take-home message can be taken as notes. Word by word. So it should not be like a newsreader who reads. The newsreader is supposed to show some emotions during the presentation, right? So you will be very live and emotional during the presentation. And do not use do not copy paste standard books and go on reading what is said, because nobody is interested to read what is in the book, right? So your job is to create a curiosity in them so that they will go back and read the book. Now, we should, in the beginning of the session itself, we should say that last 10 minutes is allotted for question and answer session. Now, just don't keep on telling that there is a time for question and answer session and then not answer their queries. So you'll be prepared to answer what all questions they are going to ask. For that, you should be thorough of what you're going to read, right? So it's okay if you say once in a while that I'm not sure, I'll read back and get back to you. But then do not use it as a habit. For an occasional question, you can always say that. But as far as possible, you expect what questions the students are going to ask and be prepared with your answers. Don't speak with a low, monotonous voice. So always vary your voice, and it should not be like a lullaby which puts them to sleep. So as far as possible, vary your voice. Now, don't use effects. So effects may be good in some way, but sometimes too much of effects. So such effects will always get the people irritated and they cannot focus on the PPTs. No, always in your presentation, the rhetorical question. What do you mean by rhetorical question? Rhetorical question is you may not get a single answer. You may not get a crisp answer for the question, but rhetorical questions always initiate a larger discussion. There's scope for more discussion. Something like the second episode will continue like that. You give a pause, you give a question, and make them think about this question. So that should be your last question, right? Last PPT slide should be a not thank you slide, but with the you're giving a rhetorical question and making them think further to add on to this. Now, the most difficult PowerPoints are to be presented online. That's what we are going to do now. We do not know, we cannot assess how much the audience have learned from your presentation, nor can we maintain eye contact with each of them. But how to improve your online presentation? One is engage the audience and build a connection. For example, in the chat box, you can send a question and ask them to reply back to you. So that is how you're going to make the audience be interested in your presentation. Now, you do not tell the answer for the question, but you say that you're going to discuss about it in the last phase of the class. Now, add stunning visuals to capture attention. Very, very difficult to maintain attention for 40 minutes in a online presentation. So as far as possible, make it very visual, add more videos, more pictures, and less of written material. Now, interact with audience through online chats. Keep it very, very simple, much simpler than the virtual presentation, and always reflect afterwards. Because just in the oral presentation, when it is held real oral presentations, you can ask, always you can point out somebody and ask questions, which is not always possible in an online presentation. So how do you assess whether the people have learned your subject or not? So immediately after the presentation, you conduct a survey. You send a set of questions and receive the answers from them through Google Forms or anything, so that you can hold of much that students have understood after your presentation. So this is very, very important in online presentation. Whereas in a class, after your questions are over, you ask them, one person, to reflect. What do you mean by reflect? What all he has understood out of your presentation. So always pick randomly. Don't go for a volunteer who can talk about the content. Okay? Always you point out somebody and ask the questions. Now, the take-home message of this presentation is, to make an oral presentation very, very effective, it requires 5 basic steps. First is planning. When do you start planning? As soon as a particular class, you should start, or a presentation, you're starting to plan. Now, preparation is collection of materials, say journals, say books, say videos, whatever. But as far as possible, do not plagiarize completely. Just for organizing and you getting more interest in that, you're going to prepare. Now, practice well before your presentation. If the presentation is for 1 minute, practice, prepare only for 40 minutes and repeatedly practice so that you finish within that set 40 minutes. Now, the real performance, be confident, keep your chin above, be loud, clear. And if your voice is not loud enough, please ask for a mic, and do always ensure that you walk around to different places so that everybody can hear you. Question answer session, you announce that you will be asking questions, and always stick to your words, ask questions, and always go for pointing out somebody and asking instead of asking the volunteers to answer, right? And you should reflect on your teaching also. So today we have learned this, and check whether somebody has understood or not. In online presentations, you can go for surveys, but in the real presentations, you pick somebody, ask them questions. Now, when do you take attendance during the class, before the class, or during the class? So the ideal thing is to give a small break after, say, 20 minutes, go for attendance, again take for another 20 minutes. So in that way, you can break the monotony of the lecture. So thank you so much for this opportunity. If you have any doubts, can you ask me what all you've learned today? Yes? Anyone? Okay, let me send you a question, right? Just you can give me one word answer. Okay. I'll send a chat question. Please answer. One point will do, each of you. Go to the chat box and reply my question. Very good planning. When do you start the plan? Crisp delivery. Very good. Always be fine. Then preparing, right? Attention seeking. Actually, it may not be necessarily attention seeking. Attention seeking is slightly different from holding their attention, right? So see to it that everyone is involved in the class, right? Problem with oral presentations is maybe we have a false belief that the first 3 rows of the class are listening to the subject, where the last 3 rows are sleeping. It's not at all so. You can comfortably sleep in the first row as well. So it's up to you to ensure that everyone has the same attention span. That is by engaging the audience, correct? Ask questions, keep on asking rapid fire questions and allow no one to sleep. What is the ideal time you log for a presentation? So they say that morning 10 to 11 is the most ideal time for a PowerPoint presentation, because breakfast will be over much before that. Lunch is much ahead, because 11 to 12 to 1 sessions, people will be just waiting for you to finish so that they can go have lunch. Afternoon postprandial sessions are usually very much sleepy for most of them. So our attention span is maximum during 10 to 11 time. Yeah, visual pictures, very good, correct. As far as possible, you use so many pictures. Now, what you do is, do not use too many videos to distract them, or too many audios, because half of them are not listening, half of them will get carried away by this. So maximum you use 1 to 2 videos maximum, but use as many pictures as possible with only the legends. Okay, you need not write so many written material there. Limit your end the session by question and answer. Very good. Okay. So thank you so much for this opportunity, Pharmacy College. So kindly reflect on what you have learned in this dynamic oral presentation skills. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vidya. And I was really, the audience were responding to all the questions. You were keeping them so active throughout the session, and it was so dynamic as the topic of your session goes. And we thank you so much on behalf of PSG College of Pharmacy and my team.
Thank you.
And now over to the participants. Morning session is over. Afternoon, we are going to start our session by 2 p.m. 2 p.m. and it's going to be on dynamic oral presentation skills. Please join us by 2 p.m. Thank you.